two-time TEDx speaker and founder of Second Chance Athletes. After going from suicidal to successful, Darryll uses his experience to give hope to the hopeless and to help heart-centered speakers build innovative six-figure speaking careers that align with their highest purpose. Darryll is the author of the best-selling book, Who Am I After Sports? An athlete's roadmap to discover new purpose and life fulfilled. When he's not working, Darryll enjoys spending time with his wife and his three beautiful daughters. Hashtag girl dad. Please help me welcome Darryll Stinson as he will tell us how to market our message. And he's also a past Toastmaster and has become a good friend of mine. Thank you so much, Darryll. Let's give him a big, warm Toastmaster welcome.
Woo! This is where Zoom doesn't come in handy because I can see the hands. I like to hear some noise. You know what? Let's do this. Can you guys come off mute, validate my insecurity, please, and just let me hear the actual clap. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Now I don't feel so insecure. It's one thing that I told myself I wasn't going to do today. And I told myself I wasn't going to try to impress you. Early in my speaking journey, I started in 2012 after multiple suicide survivals. And I knew that I was called to share. I knew that I was called to speak. I was just so afraid and scared and nervous. And honestly, I sucked. I was terrible at it. And I'm not saying that to be humble. I have video footage to prove how bad I was. And I'll never forget talking to a friend of mine who's a speaker as well. I think he's a part of Toastmasters. I know he's part of NSA, but he said this to me. He said, Darryll, you're too focused on being impressive instead of being helpful. And that is why I was having so much anxiety, because I would do all of this prep and try to memorize my speech and wow people with the voice and wow people with the PowerPoint and all of this stuff to be impressive, because I wanted applause and encore and all this stuff. And it made me so nervous because there was this pressure to get applause. There was this pressure to get an encore instead of just focusing on being helpful. And so I found that it's so much better, so much easier, so much more relaxing if I can just be helpful versus being impressive. And on top of that, y'all Toastmasters. So I'm gonna tell you on the front end. I'm sorry, Sydney, for embarrassing you, but I'm the worst when it comes to counters. Like, part of it is I do have a slight learning disability, but the other part is that I actually got kicked out of Toastmasters for how many that I said. I used to hate when they did that clicker thing, because I was like, man, they just keep clicking me. I'm like, dang, it's making me say more when you do that. So anyways, I'm just going to tell you on the front end, whoever's the counter in the room, I probably broke the record. It's all good. Just mark me down as the worst in the world. Cool. That way I can just relax and focus on my presentation. So I do want to talk to you today about marketing your message. And this is very important to me because I've always felt, as a young professional who started off in higher education, that my voice was always being muffled. It was really hard for me to be heard, because when I worked in higher education, I had all these bright ideas and all of these grand ideas, and I was presenting them to people who had children my age and people who had 3 PhDs, and they were deans of departments. And here I am saying, this is what we should do. And they're like, man, you got to earn your stripes around here. And I'm like, but I have a good idea that can help us. And part of it was their fault and their inability to learn from people younger than them. But another part of it was my inability to communicate well and to market myself and my message. So here I am sitting on information that can advance the university, information that can make the university more money, information that can help a student find the right college, but my voice is not being heard because I don't know how to market. I always say it this way: it doesn't matter how gifted you are if nobody knows who you are. That's the power of marketing. So it was very important to me. And I never forget talking to my boss one day, and just I was trying so hard to figure out how I can leverage her influence to get my ideas approved. So I'm asking her how she does what she does. And at that time, she was making $300,000 a year, and she was servicing all the communication efforts for the university. And so she was like the top of my organization. And I remember her talking about it. And as she was talking, I'm listening, and it just sounded like more stress, more emails, more meetings, more bureaucracy, more politics, more money, but it didn't seem like that was worth the money. And I remember having this thought. I said, if I make it to where she's at, which is the top of my organization, I don't think I want that life. I don't think I want that life. And so then I had to learn how to market myself as a young entrepreneur and speaker in this speaking space. And y'all know that's a beast. For all of y'all who've done outside speaking, you know how it is. People sizing you up. You don't know nothing, man. You're young. I was 23 at the time. And so I really had to learn, and I became very passionate about marketing because I know how important it is. And I would see meaningful organizations who had impactful missions lose to organizations that weren't as healthy cultural wise, they weren't as good for society, but yet they had the audience's attention simply because they knew how to market better. It wasn't because they had a larger budget, it wasn't because they had more staff, it was simply because they knew how to capture people's attention and create a relationship with them that created engagement and transactional value. So I was like, I want to help the underdogs win. And so it's very important for us to market our message. So I just want to share my heart with you today. We're going to talk about specifically your mission, your market, and your money. All right, everybody wants just get to the money, Darryll. Okay? Just skip. Can we skip to the money? It's fine. If you get clear on your mission, if you market well, the money's going to come. The money's going to come. Nobody has to convince you to buy an iPhone when you go looking for an upgrade. It's marketed well. Most people already go shopping knowing what they want. It's marketing. And so if you get clear on your mission, if you market well, you're going to make money. All right. So I'm not skipping to the end. Let's talk about this. Your mission. Okay. I want everybody to drop in the chat for me. What is your why? What is your why? Why do you go to work every day? Why do you want to be a speaker? Why do you want to make more money? Why are you passionate about the thing? What is your why? I want to know. I want to hear from you. I want to see what your why is, because to me, when it comes to your mission and what you want out of life, you have to have a why behind the what that you want. So, hey, I want to make 6 figures. Why? Hey, I want to impact 10,000 people this year. Why? Hey, I want to rise to the top of my organization. Why? I want to retire from corporate America. Why? I'm giving back to others. Why? Why? They say when you ask yourself why 5 times, it takes you from the surface level of your psychology and gets to the core of your motivation. I'm pausing, dramatic pause. Why? Because it's easy. The first thing that comes to my head, the first thing that comes to my mind, that's my why, that's my why, that's my why. When in reality, I've discovered that if you ask yourself why 5 times and you think a little bit and you journal a little bit, you find that motivation factor that's driving really your core and your why. And the reason why that's so important is because your why is why you get out of bed every morning. Your why is why you wake up. Your why is why you spend your time, your energy, your money, your effort, your intellect is all for the greater why. It's not because you want a big ego. It's not because you want a big checkbook, although that's nice. It's because you have a why that you're trying to accomplish. And you know what? I never forget working in the university, and I was so shocked that people only work 2 out of 5 days per week. Monday, they would dread coming in the office because of the weekend. Wednesday was hump day. Friday, they was waiting for the weekend. 2 days. According to Gallup research, they say that 70% of Americans are unfulfilled by their everyday work. Wow. When I hear that, what I hear is what can happen if we flip that number and 70% of people were passionately, 70% of people loved their work, 70% of people knew their why. Think of how they would show up every day. Think of how greater, how much more effective our society would be if people would show up with their why intact. And you know what? I get it. We all usually start out jobs and initiatives and companies knowing our why, our vision statement. We're passionate, we're excited, we're going to take over the world, we're going to get there in 6 months. And typically what happens is we get this initial burst of productivity, of results, and then it kind of just hits coast. Just coast. And then we have just another day doing the same thing, going through the motions. New year, same you. And it kind of just gets normal. Blah. You know, when I lost my dream of playing in the NFL, it crushed me because I had tried my hardest. They say, if you work harder than anyone else, if you come earlier to the office, if you stay later, if you put in the energy, the effort, the work life, if you have the mindset to achieve success, you can do anything you want. And I believed it, and I did it. And not only that, I was gifted. I'm 6'5". I don't know if y'all can tell. And I was way more in shape than what I look like right now. 275 pounds. I ran a 440, which for those of you who know football, that's fast for a big guy. I was ranked number 3 in the state of Michigan. I was ranked number 9 in the Midwest. I went to Central Michigan University on the full ride scholarship to play football and basketball. I played my freshman year. My coaches who worked with NFL athletes before told me, Darryll, it's not a matter of if you'll go to the league. It's only a matter of when. And then one day, as I was trying to impress some upperclassmen with how much I could squat, I came up and I said, oh, I ruptured this in my back. I had to have emergency surgery because my left leg was going to go paralyzed because of the nerve damage. My dream was gone. My why, to get my family out of poverty, my mom who raised 3 kids on 1 child support check, my why was gone. I didn't think I could do it without the vehicle of sport. So I said, you know what? I can't give up like this. I can't let go. I did something dumb, y'all. I begged the coaches, please, 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 let me play on the team, coach. Just give me another chance. Just give me another chance. I promise I can do it. I promise I can do it. No, Darryll, you don't understand. You can die out there. You can die out there. You can't come back after injury, man. We just had a guy try to come back after a small minor back surgery, and he couldn't even last 2 weeks. So we know you can't do it. Yours was much more worse, Darryll. No. And I said, no, you don't understand. My why is stronger. My why is intact. I can do this. So you know what I did? I convinced the coaches to let me sign a liability waiver so they would not be liable for my injury or death in the field. And every day I got up with my why intact. My why intact. This is for my family. This is for my family. And I would walk around campus with my abs tight all the time. And I started taking all these opioid pills to numb my pain so I could play the game of football. I would go to chiropractic 7 days a week, 2 times a day. I would go to physical therapy 7 days a week, 2 times a day. I was getting nerve killings and getting my nerves killed. I was getting epidural shots in my back. I started manipulating the healthcare system so I could get multiple epidural shots in my back. And I was doing all of this for my why. And it worked. I started for 2 years. And I did so at a cost to my health. I became addicted to opioids. Long story short, going into my senior year, my addiction got so bad that the opioids were making my blood thin to the point where every time I made contact on the field, my nose would bleed. The coaches saw that I was doing something wrong. They kicked me off the team. And I lost my why again. And I got depressed. And I attempted suicide. I would sit in the car. I hope this isn't too morbid for anybody. I'm just trying to be transparent. I would sit in the car and I would mix alcohol with pills, hoping that the combination would take me out. I would drink a whole 5th of alcohol and I would get in the car and drive, hoping that a car accident would end it all. And I ended up in a psychiatric unit in Detroit, Michigan. And I didn't think I had a why. I didn't think I had purpose beyond sports. On top of that, I had a girlfriend who I was dating for 4.5 years, my high school sweetheart. Played in the Mary, had our names picked out, carved our initials in trees, made up songs with lyrics just for us. When she found out I wasn't going to the NFL anymore, she left me and got engaged to another man. Football gone, girlfriend gone. No point in me living. Thankfully, obviously, I survived. I had a turnaround experience in a psychiatric unit where I found my faith, and I got passionate about my why again. I knew that I survived because I had purpose. I survived because I had why. So listen to me. This is not rah motivational speech stuff. This is Darryll Stinson telling you, as a person who is living the life that I tried to end, that your why matters. Your mission matters. It's what gets the pep in your step. It's what puts the sparkle in your eyes. It's what makes you go the extra mile, which is rarely ever traveled. It's what helps you do the very thing that you set out to do. That why is the energy that you need to fuel your dream. So every day I wake up, I remind myself of my why. I look my 3 beautiful daughters in the eye, and I think about the fact that I almost ended my opportunity to have this life with them. That's why I stay up at 7:20 at night and do keynotes to Toastmasters. So you are probably judging how many times I said It's because of my why. So your why: time freedom to travel home to Kenya. Oh, I love that. Sit at my parents' feet and learn from them. Came to the US for 5 years, stint and spent 30. I love it. I am passionate about giving my knowledge to everyone to make their lives better. I love it. To inspire others to tell their story and to live out their purpose. Charity begins at home. I want to help myself before I can help others and my family. That's why I put the air mask on. My passion does not earn me enough money yet. I know that's right. He said, look, I need to get out of this situation. I'm trying to earn me some money doing something I love. And I so cheer you on. I believe that if you chase purpose, money will chase you. Too many times we chase money and when we're looking for purpose and we sacrifice purpose and we unfulfill that work. But if you chase purpose, money will find you, boy. Money will find you. So your mission matters. Okay. Without this fuel, without your why, you're not going to have the energy to sustain you to your goals. So I want you to write it down. I want you to find a way to put it. I don't care if you got a vision board, a statement. I want you to put it everywhere where you look, on your bathroom mirror, on your computer screen, on your dashboard in your car, because that is how you remind yourself why you do it. That's how you put more gas into your tank. So you are operating at a higher energy level than the normal person because you are intact with your why. All right. So for all the people that hate motivational speakers and want some nuts and bolts training, I got you. Don't you worry. I'm going to show you a PowerPoint and we're going to talk about market. Now, here's what I did. So I've done this. I've been doing this since 2012, and I've got workshops and courses and all this stuff. And what I did is I was like, let me give you some core components when it comes to marketing that if you do these things well, you'll market yourself well as a speaker. You market yourself well as to advance in your company. You market yourself well to do whatever you want to do. You can take these principles and make sure they're integrated into all of your marketing efforts. And I guarantee you that you're going to see some success and some momentum in your life. So let me show you my my pretty little PowerPoint I made. Share my screen with you. Oh, you know what? Let me turn off this.
It's kind of one of those things like I was saying.
Uh-oh, somebody ain't on mute.
Suddenly.
Okay. Can y'all see that? Let me give a thumbs up. I can see some thumbs up. Okay, thank you. All right. We're going to talk about the 4 C's of marketing unpacked. All right. Number 1, capture attention. Capture attention. I'm gonna give you all 4 so my note takers can have it. Number 1 is capture attention. Number 2 is connect with your audience. Number 3 is communicate key points. And number 4 is call to action. Okay, these are the 4 C's of effective marketing. Let's break these down a little bit. Capture attention. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000. And that's how much time you have to capture somebody's attention. Research shows that the average attention span of a human is 9 seconds, and some even say it's as little as 3. So what we want to do in our marketing efforts everywhere we are, everything that we do, is we want to find a way to capture attention within the first 9 seconds. And the
So
sooner you can
how
capture
long is-
someone's attention, the better off you'll be at getting them to buy into your message, because it doesn't matter what you're showing them if nobody's looking. So let me show you a couple of ways you can do that. If my PowerPoint thing go to the next level, what's happening? Let's try it again. Okay, there we go. Headlines. The top of your email, the top of your brochure, your name tag, what you write in the chat, what you put on your screen. Your headline is one of the things that will help you capture attention. And there's 3 things that make captivating headlines. Number 1, if they have these components in it, it captures attention, it creates fascination, and it can create anticipation for what's next. Okay, for what's next. So I'll give you an example. I was writing email for a program that I'm launching to help speakers build out their businesses. And I know everybody's marketing, everybody's doing that home business right now. So I'm sure, my audience, if I know them well, they subscribe to everybody's stuff. They got too many subscriptions and they see the emails, they don't even read half of them. They just forgot to unsubscribe. So I don't think my stuff is that sweet that they, I'm not too proud to know that they probably skip over my stuff too. And so I'm like, how can I capture their attention? And so I wanted to create fascination and anticipation. So don't quote me on this, but I said something like this. I said she cut her wrist. ... How many of you, let me see your hands if you want to read the rest of that email. She cut her wrist. ... So what I did is in the email, I told the story of a young lady who at the age of 14 was dropped off at an orphanage because her parents no longer wanted her. And at the end of my speaking engagement, she came up to me and she said to me, "Mr. My parents dropped me off last year at an orphanage, and I couldn't understand why they didn't want me. So in order to deal with that pain, I've been cutting myself because I felt like I deserved it. And I never told anyone, but there was something about hearing your story today that made me want to be vulnerable about my story. Because I figured if you're a former athlete and you struggle with depression, then I can be transparent about my struggle as well." And she showed me these cuts on her wrist. And the beauty in that story is that one of the staff members there was from Honduras, and she had actually been to 15 different orphanages in her life. And she was able to come around that young lady and really counsel her for a couple of hours. And obviously I gave her hugs and said some words of affirmation over her too. But I said that this story matters. This is why it's important for you to get your message out there, your voice to be heard, because it's always somebody on the other side of your message. And then I said, let me help you build your message and your business. So anyways, these are, when you read your headlines, do the test and see if does it capture attention? Does it create fascination? Does it create anticipation? Here's a couple of types of headlines. They're how-to headlines. So have you ever seen how to lose 10 pounds in 30 days? An alarm headline, that's kind of what I use for she cut her wrist. It creates a sense of alarm in the readers or the listeners. List 10 tips to your next best year. It's a listing, so you'll just go through one by one. Exclusive, it's kind of like for Toastmasters only, for gold members only. Bold promise would be make 6 figures in 6 weeks. That's a bold promise. Now, again, all of these should be done with integrity, y'all. I'm a minister, so I'm not out here trying to use marketing ploys to hook and bait people. I'm not about that. Do it with integrity, but please do it. The other thing is ask a question, because a lot of times when people see a question, it makes them want to answer the question. So do you know how to make money from your message? Do you know how to monetize a TEDx speech? it makes people say, well, no, I don't. Let me read out. And then quickie. This is just saying that something can be done quick. And I kind of gave some examples earlier. And again, you don't have to just use one. You can combine elements from these different types of headlines in order to create and capture people's attention. Let me go to the subheads because I know we got some material to get through. Subheadlines. Subheadlines can add even greater value to an already awesome headline. I give you a couple examples here. I say 10 reasons why you should get a physical is a good headline. But watch this. 10 reasons why you should get a physical, number 1, will shock you. You see how the subhead helped a lot with that? Another one, how to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks is great. But how to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks with no pills or nasty diets is more enticing. So that subhead can sometimes help you to really capture attention as well. And again, we're trying to do this in 9 seconds. So you can capture attention through headlines. Next, you can capture attention with visuals. Away with the days of clip art. Now, I said this as a joke. I know clip art, like nobody uses clip art anymore. I hope you don't use clip art anymore. But the point is, you want to appeal to a person's visual senses in order to capture their attention. And this can happen with the way you dress, right? We understand that, but oftentimes in our materials or our newsletters or our brochures or our one sheet or our demo reels, all of these things need to capture a person's attention, because if you don't capture them, you'll lose them. It's one thing. It's one thing to have a mission. It's another to know how to market it. So you want to ask yourself, what's a visual that can really connect with my audience? Okay. So this was teamwork, clip art, nope, real picture that communicates teamwork. Okay. And there's a number of different, when I do my workshops, I give a bunch of sites where you can find free images and stuff. And so if you guys need any of the information, I can just send it to Cindy. She can get it to you. But there's a ton of like royalty free photos out there. And then there's some ways that you can create captivating visuals and graphics yourself at very little cost. And let me say this, like, one of the things I like about my experience as a marketing professional is I literally have volunteered for Big Brothers Big Sisters in my local hometown, where they had a marketing budget of a grand total of $0. And then I worked for Central Michigan University, where we had a multi-million-dollar marketing budget and was able to win 2 higher education awards for our marketing campaigns. So my point is, I know how to do it with a little, I know how to do it with a lot. So you don't need a ton of money in order to market your message or your brand. So capture attention. And then we're going to go to the second C, which is connecting. Connect with your audience. Oh, this is so important. Typically, here's what we do. If we capture attention, which if you start to pay attention to people's marketing initiatives, most people don't even work on capturing attention. Most people just start blasting information. Here's why you should pay attention to my thing. Here's why you should listen to my project. Here's why my story matters. Here's why. And it's just information. And they don't capture attention. Then if they capture attention, they go straight to communicating. No, there's a step. You have to build in a point of communication into that, connection into that. So how can you connect with your audience? What's something that you can say to them that helps them to connect with your message, your brand? Okay. You can do that through storytelling, which I know y'all are really good at. I was going to show you a couple of videos, but I'm not going to do that just for time's sake. You can do that through storytelling. If you haven't heard this already, I want to give you the elements of a good story. Your setting, number 1, your character, your plot, your conflict, and then the theme, which is the resolution of the conflict. When you tell stories, these are the elements that go into stories that help them. It's what they put in movies. Okay. I'm gonna give you another framework that's not on your screen. It's one that I use in my speeches, so y'all can steal it. It works well for content providers. So not so much if you're not like considered quote unquote a content provider, but if you are a content provider, here's a framework that I use. It's situation, investigation, that leads to revelation, that produces a transformation. Okay, so situation is much like setting. It describes the current reality. Investigation digs into that problem. Revelation is that epiphany moment. Transformation is what happens as a result of the epiphany. These have research psychology built into them to keep people tuned in. So the beauty of this is, I get it. Then the social media area, everything needs to be short and concise and all this stuff. But I think if you put these elements in the story, you buy yourself some extra time. So I tell my wife all the time, she's like, that was too long of a video. I'm like, but they'll stay because they're not going to leave before that revelation. They're not going to leave before that epiphany moment. And so, I'll buy myself a couple of extra minutes if I put these in the right order and it's my presentation. Okay, here's a Darryll Stinson hack. Okay, how do I connect with my audience? Learn who has the best relationship with your audience and why. Oh, this is good. This is worth your time tonight. I promise you, this has helped so many of my clients before. And let me tell you where the concept came from. Remember, I told you I worked for Central Michigan University. I used to have all these bright ideas and nobody would hear me. So I got put in. No, this was before I got it. So I was trying to help them solve our recruitment and retention issue. Okay, so that's all the university wants to do: recruit people, retain people, graduate them in 4 years, run like a machine. If you can do that well in higher education, you're going to be a profitable university. The problem is that, and you can look this up, Harvard came out with this research called the summer melt. The problem is that people would be applying to a bunch of different schools because they would have like 3 choices and they didn't know if they were going to get into their number one option. So they would apply to some backup options. And so your numbers in the beginning of the summer would make it seem like your enrollment is filled. But then when they get to college that they actually wanted, they wouldn't show up in the fall. So the universities were losing money because they were turning away students because they were full and then people weren't showing up. So it's really hurting universities' finances and their cash flow. And so everybody across the nation was putting together summer melt teams. And that's what they call it because they call it the summer melt. So I was part of this team. And y'all, listen, we sat in these meetings and we just went around. What can we do to keep students engaged throughout the summer? What can we do to make them want to come here? What stories can we tell? What can we? And it was all about us. And we never asked ourselves who has the best relationship with them and why. So I came up with this concept. I said, why don't we ask the students? Hey, what makes you interested in attending a university? So we put together this student liaison group. And we would ask them these questions, and I had them look at all of our marketing materials and give us feedback. And y'all want to know what helped us solve our summer melt issue? It's going to be the littlest, smallest detail that saved us thousands and thousands of dollars. It was our hashtag that we used on social media. So we, as faculty and staff, were using the hashtag that represented their incoming class. So they would be CMitch 2012, CMitch 2013, CMitch 2014, and nobody was using this hashtag. What we learned is that when students apply for colleges, they want to build relationships before they even get there. And because they care about social media, they were using CMU follow train so they can get more followers on social media. So we're sitting here putting thousands and thousands of dollars into producing these high-level videos, and we're using the wrong hashtag, so students aren't even seeing them. So what do? We put it in our brochures and our materials so people start using the hashtags, and then we started monitoring the hashtag, and that's where we would communicate with them. And we would say, hey, we see that you're coming to school this fall. We can't wait to see you. Hashtag CMU follow train. And we were in on their conversation. Can I tell you, this fixed our summer melt initiative. And the good news is that was in 2014. And I am so honored to say that group is still going today. It makes me feel proud that we still got our student liaison group. So ask yourself, who has the best relationship with your target audience and why? Okay, it's very important. And think about your goal, okay? If you want to speak, okay, you want to speak and you want to get paid to speak, you know that one of the best ways to book a stage is to find an existing relationship that you have. Okay. You know that people have favorite types of speakers. So you want to know what type of speakers do they hire all the time? And then ask yourself, why? What is it about them? And all you have to do is reposition yourself as that type of person that they're looking for. And I'm not saying change your identity or your message, but I'm saying change what you dress up as, speak their language, and they'll give it to you if you do enough research. So this is just use the element of surprise in terms of connecting with audience. People, I know y'all get tired of hearing the same speakers use the same quotes, seeing the same emails, use the same headlines, seeing the same politicians using the same marketing campaigns. You don't listen to it. You don't look for it. So when you introduce the element of surprise, it helps you with connecting with your audience. So this video, I'm not going to play it, but basically this was us doing surprise visits to people who got accepted to our university. So everybody was doing the traditional brochure with the signed letter from the university president. Nobody cared about the university president. So we decided to show up on scene and do the surprise. And I'm telling you, this helped us with creating engagement and helping us to get our message out there. So let me move on to the next point. So we got capture attention, connect, and then we have communicate. Okay. I mean this in all respect. Most people who have a hard time speaking, like a speaking problem, it's often because they have a hearing problem. Our problem with communicating is that we think it's about what we have to say versus what our audience needs to hear. Write this down. Never let what you have to say get in the way of what your audience needs to hear. This works in parenting. This works in speeches. This works in all forms of communication. And the way that you learn, I always tell people say, like, how do you tell great stories? How do you be a good speaker? How do you do this? And I say, I believe the best skill that I have as a speaker is my ability to listen. I'm not the most entertaining. I'm not the best looking. My wife might think I am, but I'm not the best looking. You probably heard me say, I'm not the most well-spoken. I don't have the greatest intellect. I speak a little Ebonics from time to time. Like sometimes I lose my train of thought. I'm not a Les Brown or an Eric Thomas or you name your favorite speaker. But what I do very well is I listen to my audience. I hear what they talk about, and I find a way to communicate what they need. Watch this, in their language. My first year in working with athletes, I was about to go bankrupt. I was about to go all the way bankrupt. And it's because I was communicating what I wanted to say and not what they needed to hear. It's because I listening enough to my audience to use a language that they would describe. So here's what I used to say. Man, my name is Darryll Stinson. I'm founder of Second Chance Athletes. I help people discover new identity and purpose beyond sports so that they can live more fulfilled. Because I don't believe that you should live your current life as your second best life as an athlete. Glory days, it should be a term that's eliminated from our vocabulary, because that means that the best days of your head is behind you and not in front of you. And I believe that the best days of your life, my life, his life, her life, Roxanne's life, Karen's life, is in front of us, not behind us. Come on and buy my programs. Nobody bought. No, nobody bought. Let me say this. After I got past my friends and family, nobody bought. So I started to talk to my audience. I said, so, what are you struggling with right now? What do you really want in life? And everybody would say, well, I'm really just trying to find a good paying job, trying to replace my income. I really want to launch a speaking business. I really want to get into entrepreneurship. And I would literally say to them, this was Darryll being prideful and hard-headed. I would say, no. That's what you want. That's not what you need. Because you can name any other organization that's in athlete transition, and they will give you another high to chase. You need to process your career. I say it this way. Athletes, when they get thrust into a new career without processing, it's like being married for 20 years, getting divorced and remarried within a year, and not thinking that you're going to bring baggage into that new relationship. So I said, have you processed your fan base? Have you thought about the effort you put into it? Have you had time to grieve? Or are you just trying to chase another high and fulfill that void and still going to live like your glory days are behind you? So I know what you're saying you want, but I'm going to give you what you need. How much money did you think I made? It didn't work because I wasn't listening. And then I said, you know what? Why don't I change this? Why don't I say I help former athletes find their new dream career? And you know what step one is, y'all? Step one in finding your new dream career, you know what it is? Find purpose, process your sport, grieve the sport. You see, I was still selling the same thing. I was just changing the way that I communicated it. Why? Because it mattered. So here these athletes were going to these organizations that did not care about their mental health, their emotional well-being, and they have the attention of their audience because they're giving them what they want. And here I am saying, no, this is not what you want, this is what you need. And I had to learn, look, I'll give you what you want, but part of the process in you getting what you want is me giving you what you need. Transformed our organization. So think about that. If you're getting rejected, if your emails don't have high open rates, if you aren't getting responses to cold pitches for speaking engagement, if your company isn't listening to your presentation, ask yourself, am I communicating in words that I use or words that they use? Got to change the way that you communicate. And there's some other stuff that you can do around there, but we don't have time for that today. The last one I want to share with you is call to action. Call to action. You know, do this. I want you to do this experiment. Tomorrow, when you're driving, if you're not sheltering in place, or if you're at home, watch commercials. No, commercials do a good job, but I want you to see billboards, brochures, advertisements, and newspapers. And I want you to pay attention to how many of them actually have call to actions. Because the problem is that a lot of them don't. And here we are capturing their attention, connecting with our audience, communicating key points, and we never tell them what to do next. What do you want from me? Sign up for my email list, set up a call. People, I get for my TEDx talk, it has over 500,000 views, and I get about 2 or 3 messages per day, and a lot of them have no call to action. They're like this. They're like, hey, saw your TEDx talk. It was really great. Would like to connect. I'm like, what does that mean? You know, like, you want me to call you? I don't have your number. You know, like, you can send me an email. Do you want my email address? Like, I'd have no clue what you want. And because I don't know what they want, they don't get what they need. Let me tell y'all in the way that they raised me in the hood. They say scared money don't make money. You got to call to action, y'all. You got to call to action. There's all types of data around what happens when you don't include call to actions in your social media posts and your marketing materials and all this stuff. And you got to make it very clear for people to see. They say, you know, the top third of your website, most people won't scroll past that fold. And so you want to have a clear call to action and a solution to a problem that you solve on the top third of your website. So if you check your analytics and you got 100 visitors and you're not converting well, it's probably because you didn't do call to action well. Okay. And then let me just say this about monetizing your message, because I know. So we talked about your mission, we talked about marketing and the 4 C's and monetizing. Here's really what I want to say, just really quick, 3 principles. Share solution-based stories. Okay. So there's this old adage that goes around, is that, and you probably heard it: facts tell, stories sell. Facts tell, stories tell. I disagree. I disagree because I've got a really good story. I would go around and I would cause people to cry and all this stuff, and I would get no clients after my speech. And I'm like, why don't they want to work with me? I can help them build their business. I can help them do this. It's because a good story wasn't enough. I needed to present myself as a solution to a problem. So I want you to share facts and share stories and present yourself as a solution to a problem. Okay. Number 2, showcase results to eliminate risk. One of the things when I was really trying to get my ideas approved as a young professional at CMU, and when I was really trying to create something innovative in our community, I was part of Leadership Connect, so I've done some cool community projects, is that people, it's not that they didn't think it was a good idea or that they weren't like going to invest in me. It was that they were concerned about the fallout. Like, what happens if this doesn't work? And so the more that I could show results, the easier it was to reduce the risk and to get my idea approved and my message or whatever I was trying to promote heard. And then the third thing in terms of monetization, oh, let me say this about results as well, is, how can I put, let me just go to number 3, because what I'm about to say ropes into both of these points. It's charged based on value, not time. And I know a lot of you know this, but I want to like specifically speak to the heartfelt, mission felt people that have like stories like mine that are like purpose and being an advocate for disability, those type of things. Those are great causes, but they do have quantitative value. So it was really hard for me to get booked as a mental health speaker. And I had a good tagline. I thought my speech was called 7-Figure Self-Care, self-care worth 7 figures. So I'm like, oh, everybody's going to want this. It's going to help corporations. And it didn't because, they wanted to know how is this going to increase my bottom line. And so what I had to do is go research the impact that home life issues or personal issues have on a person's productivity at work. And so now I would say the same title, but I'll also throw the data in there to show that, hey, this is actually valued at something so whatever money they would lose is what I would say the value is worth. So look, right now you're losing X amount of dollars per research that says that personal issues affected a person's productivity by this much. This is how much you're losing as a company. And I'm coming to present a mental health speech that's going to help people have better quality of life so they can be more productive at work. Worked. That's all that matters. Like, it works. So I want you to think about, how can I put a quantitative value to my message? Sometimes we as communicators think that our message is enough. And don't get me wrong, I believe in messages. Like, I believe that all of you have a mission worth fighting for, worth getting up early for. But let me say it this way, that's why it's even more important for you to put a quantitative value on it. So do the research. Gallup is a good research that I use. There's other sources. I know Google Scholar is one that a lot of speakers that I work with use. And when they find the quantitative value for the solution that they bring to that organization's problem or that audience's problem, it changes it. And I'm telling you, nobody's doing this. Everybody's sending cold pitches with stories. Hey, hire me because I got this good story. Hire me because I got this good message. And it sounds the same. It's cluttered to the meeting planner. So set yourself apart and say, look, I can save you X amount of dollars on average for this type of talk. And I'm telling you, every message has a quantitative value. You just got to come up with what that is. So that is my presentation for today. I know we got a little bit of time for maybe a couple of questions, but let me say this from my heart to you all. This is a very stressful time that we're living in. And the world needs your message. I say it this way. There's a lot of people, I do social media workshops and stuff. There's a lot of people on social media and a lot of people that's saying something, but there's not a lot of people who actually have something to say. And you're Toastmasters, and you've got experience, and you've got wisdom, and you've got time in the game. So don't let these young bucks outdo you and earn market share and people's attention just because they know how to market better. Because if you play the game the right way, you deserve the attention, you deserve the applause, you deserve the audience, because your message matters that much. And so I really want to encourage you to know that when I see stuff online, you know what it's missing? It's missing your voice. It's missing your wisdom. It's missing your input. And we need you. So you can figure it out. You ain't gotta love it, but you've got to use it. because that's how much your message matters. So that's my presentation for tonight. Now, tell me how many ums.
Hey, Darryll, it's Cindy. First of all, I'd like to thank you on behalf of all the Toastmasters, but I'd like to make a point to everybody of some things that you said, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
You know, what I love is that you are an excellent, excellent storyteller. And unfortunately, you have this story that is so bad, but you were able to come back from it. And I'm so glad that you did come back from it. But I want everybody to realize that Darryll reinvented himself. If you listen to his stories, not once, not twice, but multiple times, and he didn't give up. And I don't mean to talk like you're a third person. I know you're right there and you can hear me. But
Right
this
here,
is what I
Sydney.
would say to everybody if you weren't standing there. You came back and you kept finding what would work. And what you said is it wasn't about you, it was about the other people. And I just want to make sure everybody hears that, because when we speak as speakers within Toastmasters, it is about ourselves. It's about me getting up in front, learning how to tell my story. Someone evaluates me to make me a better speaker, and I go out there and speak, and eventually one day, hopefully get paid for it. Not everybody wants to be a speaker. Not everyone wants to tell their story, and people are private. But it's people like you that make me want to go out there and be better. And truly, thank you for tonight, because I learned so much from you. And you know, the more we talk, the more I like you, Darryll. You know, Darryll and I did a show together, which it was Darryll's show, and I just have learned so much. So I'm very appreciative that you were here. I'll let others say stuff, but I hope that you all realize that he started over multiple times in his stories. I heard at least 3 times, and you're still standing and you're still successful now, and you're about to skyrocket. Like, you have to remember us little people soon, because you're really skyrocketing right now and doing really terrific. And we appreciate what you do for the community, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure. Anybody else got a question? Cindy, I'll send you a cash out later for that rap.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
A question.
yeah, go for it.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Hannah, and I did participate in Toastmasters before COVID, but not very much.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually on social media quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering because on certain platforms, you really don't want to come out the gate communicating like you have something to sell because you don't want to alienate, your audience.
Correct.
And you touched on connecting with people using stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, and you did mention that you do some social media stuff.
Mhm.
So do you have specific training
Mhm.
for social media? Because I don't want to burn my field, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I've got plenty of material around that. I would say the ratio I would suggest for you on pretty much any platform is 7-to-1. So about 7 value adds before you make an ask. Okay.
Okay.
And the only exception is when you're in a promo cycle. So like if you, because I didn't want people looking at my social media, be like, man, you asking. I'm in a promo cycle right now because I'm building my mastermind program. So I'm making an ask more than 7-to-1 ratio, but typically I'll do a 7-to-1 ratio. Any other questions? And yeah, I've got tons of stuff, but obviously we can't go through that. Social media is super fun. I'll tell you what,
Hi,
if you guys are not, if you have an iPhone and you're not on Clubhouse, and I'm not a person to promote like new trendy stuff, but I'm telling you, it is the best, my favorite social media app. It's a voice generated platform. You can talk directly to people. I've gotten so many quality relationships, not just clients, but quality relationships from Clubhouse. And so it's right now is the time. And I've got some invites. If somebody want an invite, I got like 4 left. They keep giving me more because I keep using it too much. I heard somebody come off mute. Yes, ma'am or sir.
hi, Darryll. Thank you for your presentation today. Great learning out of it. My question is, you mentioned about sharing the results, but if we are starting, we may not have results. So
Mhm.
how to project that?
Yes, that's a good question. So you can obviously borrow the results of someone else and see how this worked for them versus, what's, if you don't have the personal results. And can I ask, what are you marketing?
I am not marketing anything as of now, but yes, I wanted to be speaker, paid speaker.
Okay.
That is, I'm just learning, being part of Toastmaster from last 2 years. But
Okay.
definitely, I'm into corporate job 9 to 5. But gradually, I wanted to transition myself. So that is
Okay.
why.
Yeah. So yeah, again, the research that I use and the results that I presented when I told you about how much it can save a company was not a company that I had personally worked with in the beginning. It was based upon market research. You see, I was transparent about it. I was like, hey, this is an average. This is a ballpark, right? This is like a guesstimate of how much money you're losing because people are bringing home issues, into the work life.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's a great question. Anybody else? My website. Yeah, that's the Second Chance Athletes, or you can go to DarrylStinson.com. That's fine. Go on, guys. I love looking at all these faces. It's so funny. I wish I could see what I see. People be looking so confused. They be like,
I have a question for you. So I'm
Yes.
on your Facebook and I see you're doing lives and interviews. How
Yeah.
do you think that has benefited? I don't know how long you've been doing it for, obviously, because I scrolled like super briefly, but something I'm looking to get into.
Do it. Yes, sir. Do you have a podcast?
No, I don't have a podcast yet. I have a YouTube channel at the moment.
Do it. So I prefer to do a live show because it's instant gratification. And then I like being live, man. And then I repurpose it on my podcast channel so you get people to get downloads and additional listens. If you're thinking about it, do it. My greatest mistake, because I was told to do podcasts like 5-6 years ago. And I was like, man, I'm not doing a podcast. I don't want to handle the back end. I just want to go on people's podcasts, let them do it, share my message. I don't want to have my own thing. And once I started doing it, because someone talked me into it, I was like, I should have been doing this a long time ago because I'm already having the conversation with people anyways. So I might as well, get some clients and some exposure for these conversations that I'm having. So yeah, I would highly recommend that live shows and podcasts for sure. Hey, I don't know if I'm supposed to end the meeting. I know we're at our time. It's 8:00. I know Toastmasters, y'all be on point with the time. I don't have to go anywhere right now, so I can hang around if anyone wants to continue some Q&A format. But this is not my show. So Roxanne, Sydney, who's ever in charge, shut me up.
Well, I just want to thank you, and I'm turning it over to Roxanne, who I think is still here.
Yep, I'm here.
Yes.
Darryll, thank you so much again for giving this workshop and providing us with so much valuable information. I think we could leave it open for a few more questions. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask Darryll, ask now while you can.
Yeah. And please don't feel like y'all got to stay. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings if you sign off. I just want to be of service because I know sometimes, even though I share some tangible steps that you can take, sometimes your individual situation is so much different and you just need that little tweak to how do I actually apply this to my life. And that's very important to me.
I have a question.
What's up? Shanta, is that how I say your name?
It's Shantae.
Shantae. Hey,
Yes.
Shantae, how you doing?
I'm good, Darryll. How are you?
Hot. These lights
Okay.
is shining.
I can see that. So I'm gonna get to my question and I'll make it quick.
Okay.
So I have a question. Can you recommend any good books for any new marketers just really getting out there and just really finding their voice?
It depends on which channel. I'll tell you the best marketing tip. You ready?
I'm ready.
Be different. That's it. Seth Godin wrote a whole book called The Purple Cow, and I read the whole thing, and that's all he's saying. All he's saying is be different, right? Yeah. So Purple Cow is one I've read. Guerrilla Marketing, anything Russell Brunson has produced with Traffic Secrets is really good stuff on marketing. If I just put it on my shelf, I haven't read so many books on marketing. The old school one, it's so funny. It costs a lot of money, but people say that you read this one and you don't need to read any other marketing book. It's time tested. It's called Breakthrough Advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And it's full. It's this huge book. It's like $100. I couldn't find it for cheaper than like 126 bucks. But y'all, that thing is packed full of wisdom. So those are some resources I would recommend. The other thing too, I know Seth Godin sends out blogs, and don't underestimate the power of YouTube when it comes to marketing. So everything's figure outable.
Gotcha. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Just as a follow-up to what Shantae was saying and how you responded, when you say be different, do you mean just be authentic, your authentic self? Just be who you are, because there's no other person like Shantae in the world. Is that what we're saying?
I am saying that. I'm also saying if everyone's going left, go right. Okay. If everybody's posting face selfies, post something that nobody's posting. You find a way to find something that's interesting and entertaining in whatever you're trying to market, capture it, create something, and publish everywhere. Okay. When I say publish everywhere, I mean all marketing channels. So yeah, there's multiple ways you can be different. All you got to do is look at what people are doing and go, okay, I see what they're doing. It's working for them. Let me do something different. You know, I might borrow their strategy a little bit, but I'm gonna do something different so that I stand out. And let me show you. I don't know if y'all can see this. Oh, actually, I can share my screen. I'll pull it up, and you feel free to ask another question while I pull this up real quick, because I want to show you something. Yeah. Now this is just one platform specifically, but this has been a really high engaging post for me. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask what program you're using to interview side by side. Like
I use StreamYard, but I'm actually getting ready to switch because I connected with this lady who has sponsorships from people, and I want sponsorships. So she's using Restream and Ecamm. I currently use StreamYard.
Yep.
And she has more flexibility and freedom with Ecamm. And I've heard that multiple times, but
Ecamm Live is newer as
Ecamm,
well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use Restream and Ecamm because it gives you a little bit more flexibility and freedom.
Yeah.
So that's what I use to stream, and that's what I would suggest is this new platform I'm switching over to.
Cool.
Yeah, good question. But to me, more than what platform you use is your marketing strategy. Everybody does a live show and leave it up there. Half the people don't do post promotion. That's where the gold is, right? So when I do live, I'll get like 10, 20 people that show up live. On rewatches, I'll get like 300 to 500. But when I turn it into a blog, and when I turn it into email, and when I turn it into micro content, the results is crazy. So that's the stuff that no one's doing.
Yep, that's what I've been reading and learning.
Wow, that's awesome to know. That's awesome to know.
Yes. I'm listening to y'all. I just want to show y'all an example.
I have a question then.
Yes.
Is it worth it setting up funnels, email funnels after that as well? Do you do all of those as well?
Yes, it's passive. It's not you do it once and you send it. So y'all want to know how to monetize a TEDx talk. So number one, you need to market a TEDx talk. I did, and listen, I'm gonna be transparent. So when I did my TEDx talk, there was 9 or 10 other speakers. Okay. Mine has over 500,000 views. The next person close to me is 60,000 views. Okay. Now listen, I did not do the best speech. There was 2 people who did. And now I'm an athlete. I compete. I compare. Y'all know we speakers, so we be measuring. I'm not being humble. I promise you. One dude, the one that got 60,000 views, he crushed it. Like not a blemish, and flawless speech. It was amazing, right? And another one was this girl that her name's Abby Gibb, and she crushed it. None of them have as many views as I do because their marketing strategy was not as good. Okay, and I can tell you how to do that another time. But the other thing too is none of them made any money from it. But I created a funnel, and it's all I did was make an application guide from my TEDx talk. Okay, so how to apply it, and then that was the free gift. And then after that, I gave them a rejection to revenue masterclass for $27. After that was a purpose made profitable course for $97. So when people reach out to me, like, oh my gosh, so amazing. I struggle too with rejection and all this stuff happened to me. I say, cool. Have you got the guide? Boom. And you send it. But listen, it helps them to go from inspiration to application. Because anybody can be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. But my whole heart in doing the TEDx in the first place was to have mass of impact. So I'm not happy with an encore. I don't care about that. I want you to take your pain and make some money out of it. Because if you've been through all of that HG double hockey sticks, you might as well get paid to do it. Okay. So don't get me started on that. I start getting crazy. Let me show y'all this, please. Is that helpful? So yes, is the answer.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let me show y'all this. Can y'all see this? Okay. So people were doing graphics like this. Okay. And when they want to do, that's not even one of them. Let's see. Okay. Does this have it? Okay. So scroll graphics, because the Instagram tracks engagement. So the longer somebody stays on your page, the more visibility you'll get. The more comments you get, the more likes you get, the more shares and saves you get, the more visibility you get. So people will do scroll graphics to keep people doing this, because they want to see, right? And so number one, you just seen it, but I did this, then I threw this at the end. Right? But then I took it a step further, and the post that's really working for me, I just did, I think yesterday, is same thing, right? It's actually the same little 3. But then I put this photo here. Different. Not a lot of people are doing scroll graphics with full blown pictures. They're all like text. See that? And it worked. So that's an example. Okay. That's what I mean by be different. Okay. I can't see y'all no more. Okay, here. All right, now I can see y'all. Like struggling tech.
Man, I'm looking at my Instagram. I'm going to try and do that ASAP.
Yeah, it's gonna work for you. Okay. The other thing that worked really well, and I'm getting ready to do this again, so I did it a long time ago, but do a 3-minute version of your message or your story. 3 minutes. Create a really captivating hook in the beginning. Take them through your little emotional roller coaster. Tell about the transformation that happened, and then create a call to action. Don't forget the call to action. And I'm telling you, it is still one of the best performing pieces of content that I've ever done, is the 3-minute version of my story.
Well, I think we're going to have to wrap it up.
Thank
But
you.
Darryll, we sincerely appreciate you being with us tonight. I put his info in the chat again, if you would like to reach out to him personally and ask him any additional questions. Thank you all for being here tonight. And don't forget, check out the D44 website for all our future events. I know Cindy is giving an interview, how to improve your interviewing skills on February 3rd. And our workshops are available not just for our D44 members, but for anybody that would like to join and participate in the workshop. So please encourage your friends and your family to come out and experience these wonderful things that we offer. Darryll, thank you again. I wish you much success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cindy.
Now everybody
Everyone
just
have
sit
a
there and
great
smile and look awkward.
So thank
It's
you.
always that awkward time. It's like, who's gonna like shut everybody up and say, can I take a picture? Is it okay?
Before you close down, I'll say one thing. Darryl's going to be doing conversations with Cindy, so you'll get to hear the inside scoop of Darryll a little bit further, and we'll post it so you can see that interview. To be coming out soon. Thanks
Roxanne,
again, Darryll. Thank
thank
you.
you. Roxanne, can I take a picture?
Absolutely.
All right, whoever's on everybody smile. I don't know who's on the first screen, but whoever's on the first screen I'm gonna make you insta famous. All right. just kidding. There we go. No, District 44, I'll tag you. Thank you. All right. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it. Y'all are
Thanks
awesome.
so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you.